From the city of brotherly love, this is Shark Bite Biz with David Strausser.
You just arrived to the newest episode of Shark Bite Biz. I'm your rockstar wannabe host, David Strausser. This is your place to learn how to grow a business during complete global chaos. Today, it's all about email. First, though, remember, please download the Shark Bite Biz app on Android at the Google Play Store. That's where you can find every single episode of the show, the live stream, the audio episodes, the video episodes, snippets, shorts. Everything is right there within the app. All you got to do is go to the Google Play Store, search Shark Bite Biz, easy download, give us a 5-star rating. But if you really want to help us out, please share us out to your friends, family, network, anywhere you can out there in social media. We only grow by people like you sharing the word. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Now let's get back to today's show. Email is back in fashion. All you sales reps out there know that making contact with people right now and reaching prospects in today's mostly decentralized world is harder than ever. And that's what today's guest got. One simple philosophy that will help you change your biz dev pipeline. So who do we have today? None other than Luke Charlton, also known as the Aussie Hermit. In 2013, Luke Charlton, aka the Aussie Hermit, decided to quit his comfortable 6-figure-a-year government job, move halfway around the world, and start an online business as a coach. Thinking he knew enough about marketing to survive in one of the most expensive cities in the world, London, obviously, he quickly realized that this online thing wasn't as easy as it looked. Through years of trial and error, struggling, and nearly going bankrupt, Luke finally discovered the formula for online success and is now helping over 4,000 coaches grow their business online. So hey, without further delay, let's bring the Aussie Hermit, Luke, right on in here.
Reach your customer.
Luke, welcome to Shark Bite Biz. You, my friend, you just became Shark Bait.
Thanks, David. Pleasure to be here.
No problem. I didn't tell you about that, though, when I said I was going to give you an intro to the show, did I?
You did not. You did not.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So, hey, thank you so much for coming on. Honored to have you on the show, as you're known as the Aussie Hermit. Interestingly, we've had a lot of guests from Australia as of late. So I think our show is actually starting to get some pretty decent traction down there, because I keep getting all you Aussies, and maybe it's just because of the sharks, and you guys got a lot of sharks down there.
We do, so I live near the beach, and I actually don't go. I don't go into the water that much. I don't like the sand. I'm a hermit, right? I like to stay inside. But that's one of the things that's always on my mind, because where I am, kind of near Brisbane, which is, the waters are quite warm up here. And the sharks like to like to swim around this area of Australia. So something that always makes me want to go in the water less. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. No, I get you. It's funny because the previous guest, one of the previous guests that we had on from Australia, Gabrielle Dolid, who wrote the book Magnetic Stories and was an amazing guest. She was telling us about how sometimes she'd be doing like a Zoom meeting or whatever, and she might be by her window, and all of a sudden you have like 2 kangaroos fighting in the background, and they're like, is that like real? And she's like, oh yeah, that's real. They're fighting.
It's funny, like where I'm from is actually, I moved here in the beginning of the year, but I am from Canberra, which is the capital of Australia. And in Canberra, there are kangaroos like everywhere. You'll see them, like 20 of them just lying on the golf course or whatever, or just, sitting. They're just everywhere. In fact, they're considered a pest, right? Because there's just so many of them. They jump in front of cars. Like, people have a lot of accidents hitting them early in the morning.
Well, that's kind of how it is with deers up here.
Yeah, exactly right. It's exactly the same as deer. What you guys have for deers. But where I am, where it's warmer, which I didn't realize till I moved here, there's hardly any around here. We've got other wildlife up here. But yeah, I have not seen one kangaroo, whereas in the colder climate, they're everywhere.
I don't know if it's an American thing or what, but Americans love kangaroos for some reason. So whenever we get an Australian somehow, some way, I usually end up, or the guest talks about it. So it's just one of those Australian things. But anyways, before we go any further, we have a tradition on the show. Okay, the very first solid question that I ask everybody is, what's your background? What's your experience? What do you do for a living? How'd you start doing it? Basically, in a nutshell, tell us what makes Luke Luke.
Okay, I'm not sure how much detail you want me to go into this, but I'll give you the quick overview and then
you just go and I'll stop you when it's too long.
And then I'll give you the quick overview and then you can dive into whatever area. So as I said, I'm from Canberra. I lived there most of my life until I moved here. I also have actually lived in the US, by the way. I went to university there in North Carolina in Wilmington. Yeah, so I went to university, went into a 9-to-5 life, really hated it. I actually worked for the government because everyone in Canberra works for the government. It's kind of like Washington, D.C.
I saw that. And in your bio, it said that you had a nice 6-figure salary. Was that with the government? That for most people must be pretty hard to give up, I'd assume.
Yeah, I just hated what I did. In fact, like,
because it was a 9-to-5 job.
Well, it wasn't that. I actually didn't mind the 9-to-5. I like routine, right? So I didn't mind that part. What I found with these 9-to-5 jobs is like the first 6 months would be really good because that's the bit where you're growing, right? You're growing and learning. And then after 6 months, it would just be like the same thing every single day. And I had to go through a few jobs to realize that's what was going on, right? That was the pattern. So in the third job, I'm like, this job sucks again. Why is that? Oh, I'm not learning anymore. I'm not growing. And the only way you can move up in the public service is if someone dies or if they retire. And I'm being serious, because once you get a government job, people just stay in there for years. So it's very hard to kind of.
That's kind of like we have in the US too. I mean, everybody talks about the conspiracy people will say the deep state, but there is a perma government, especially within the states and federal governments, of people who just really serve their lifetime, regardless of who the president is or who Congress is. You know, it's really only the top executive positions that change with the administrations, and most people below them are the perma government.
Yeah, exactly right. So, see, I towards the end of my time in the final job, it got so bad where I was like, I just hated it so much where, like, no joke, probably every hour I'd have to like take a break from my job and just go for a walk, like a 5 to 10 minute walk around the building, and then go back to my desk and do another hour of work and then stop. And it felt like the way that I described it is like a straitjacket on your soul, right? I just felt like really constrained. And so obviously from that, I realized, I attributed to that I'm not cut out for 9-to-5, but looking back, I realized no, it was more that there was just no growth. And so that kind of that pain led me to like, okay, what can I do? Just all the searching different things. And at that time I became a certified personal trainer. So I did some personal training. And then I also kind of did more research and discovered coaching, life coaching. And I thought, why don't I become like a health coach, right? Because I know personal training, I really, really enjoy that. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to move to London because my family's from there. So I've got my UK passport. So I just wanted to get out and do something different. So I'll move to London and I'll start my health coaching business there. And so for that next 12 months, it was like just more pain because I thought, building a business would be a bit, I thought, if you move to London, this is like my thinking, right? Because there's more people in London, it's going to be easier to get clients. And if anyone who's marketed a business know that it's not just as straightforward as going to a place where there's more people in a city. You actually have to kind of have
especially nowadays, because I mean, really with COVID, and this word is probably so worn out that I'm culpable of using it almost every episode too, is digital transformation. But with that, it really opened up a lot of areas, whether it's coaching or whatever, to be in global marketplaces. I've talked to many coaches that are like, they may be out of LA. And they used to be like, I used to be exclusively in LA, and it would suck because with traffic, maybe I drive 90 minutes for a 1-hour session, and then I got to drive another 2 hours for another 1-hour session. And it just took so much time. But once COVID hit and I had to do everything remote, guess what? I'm working pretty much 7 or 8 hours straight, billing more clients a day than I was before doing it digitally, and we're getting the same results.
Yeah.
And they were also opened up their marketplace instead of just doing LA because of doing everything through Zoom or Teams or whatever they're using. Now they're getting clients in Australia and the UK and India, any country that has, that works with US businesses usually, no matter what country they were in, they were now a target market for these coaches.
Right. And there's kind of good and bad things to that, because now you got more competition. So my coaching was always online. This is back in 2013. There was still we used to do it on Skype back then.
Oh yeah, Skype. I remember that.
Yeah. They kind of dropped the ball, right? They could have been the ones that were Zoom, but
well, I mean, it's technically Teams now. I mean, if you look, the video calling in Teams is actual tech. It was based off Skype technology. So it innovated, but they did drop the ball. They were ahead of the competition. Zoom should not exist. It should have been Teams. They just did not. Where they lost it is they could not figure out how to do meeting invites. That's where I think they missed it. That's where they got it wrong. If they would have came out with meeting invites in 2014, like for example, to do this podcast, I have a room invite that's sent out, and it's for each meeting, and everybody has the same link that's been on the show, and the person clicks it for their time. They come in. I don't have to get a personalized link each time. That one simple change and just updating some of the aesthetics, the recording quality, stuff like that, I think Skype would probably be number one easily today.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. What I was doing is I was in London, kind of like what you're mentioning about coaches going from client to client driving across town. Well, I was kind of doing that, but on foot, but that was for my marketing, right? So I would be networking 5 nights per week, because that's how much, so many networking events in London, you could just go to as many as you wanted. So I was just networking almost every day. Had my own podcast. I had my own, it was Google Hangouts back then, now it's YouTube Live, but I had my Google Hangout show. I was doing webinars, workshops, I don't know, I think I counted 17 marketing strategies that I did in that first year. And from all that, I got one client, and that didn't even come from any of the marketing that I was doing. It actually came from another program that I invested in, a speaker program where I just met this other coach and helped him with his copy. So that first 12 months after I quit my job was a disaster, basically. And I had to come back to Australia because I ran out of money. My family wouldn't lend me any more money. So I came back and lived with my nan. She was the only one that let me live with her rent free.
Hey, I've been there. I went through a rough patch during the Great Recession, and after living in Mexico for so many years and then some California, I ended up having to move home. Now, luckily, I found the break. As soon as I did get there, I was able to save up 25 grand in 6 months. And that's when I moved to Peru, and then eventually back to Mexico and got back on my path. But yeah, I mean, I think many people can relate, especially people that are probably, I assume you kind of look like we're around the same age, at least, probably plus minus 5 years in that range. But, in this age where, we got hit hard in the US with the Great Recession. I'm sure you probably did too. And that's where it happened with me, to where I had to go back with the tail between my legs. Didn't even have money to buy Christmas gifts for my son that year. My brother, who passed away, actually bought him all his Christmas gifts. And it's one of the greatest things that he ever did for me, because it was that bad when I first moved back. It was broker than broke. So I had to sell everything we could to get our family out back to my home, because we just couldn't find work, couldn't find the job, at least a job that would allow us to have even just a house, a roof above our head. And then not even talking about the expenses of the house or, food. It was a very, very rough time. And every time I think about life, I always circle back to that moment. And I'm probably sure you do too, when you had to move into your nan's house, because that's the lowest point ever in my life. I had many low points. That was by far the lowest point. And every day since I picked myself back up and rebuilt my life, I have promised myself, I strive to never put myself in that position ever again.
It's certainly a low point, coming back, with your, as you said, with the tail between your legs. especially when like people, you know, in your family don't believe in you. But the other side of the coin is, for me, it wasn't as bad as being in a job that I hated. You know, I was actually much happier, even though I was kind of had no money. Actually, I didn't have no, I had like negative money. I was actually in a lot of debt. But for me, you know, it was okay because I was just doing something that I really enjoyed. And I knew that if I just kept moving forward, you know, it eventually come together. And also my thinking was, what else am I going to do? Because this is what I really, you know, it was like never in my mind to quit either. Like I loved, what I love about growing a business is that every day, like literally every day you're learning and growing. Like you have to, otherwise, you know, if you're not learning and growing, then your business can't grow because your business is like an extension of you, right? So that's what I love. I mean, with business, it's very stressful, and that's where the growth comes from. There's challenges every day. So I run ads for clients. And when you're running paid advertising and spending, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on advertising, with that comes a lot of challenges. And that's obviously why the clients are paying me, because I overcome those challenges for them.
So my question for you, and maybe I just missed this, but how did you exactly make that pivot then into doing that paid advertising?
Yeah, good question. So basically when I came back from London, I got a side job in a bar. And that kind of gave me a chance to go like, okay, what I'm doing is not working. And what I was doing in London is I was chasing all of these, you know, bright, shiny objects, right? I was jumping from marketing strategy to marketing strategy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm back here in Australia. Let's just take a couple of steps back and instead of chasing all the new stuff, the bright, shiny objects, let me look at what are the kind of the fundamentals? Like what were the successful people doing before the internet even? And so I started studying copywriters, old school copywriters, old school marketers, people like Gene Schwartz, there's like Gene Schwartz, Joe Sugarman, Gary Halbert, just a few other amazing copywriters. And I started to learn about like the fundamentals of marketing, the fundamentals of sales.
Have you ever read by chance Jeffrey Gitomer? I've talked about him a lot. He's got like the Little Red Book of Selling. He has another book called The Sales Bible. You probably have seen it around, but it's an old school sales book. If not, I mean, that's something I highly suggest, because I was just arguing with a sales guru that is very respected, but he's kind of like, no, those philosophies from 20 years ago don't work in 2022. And I'm like, yes, they do. The core message does if you convert it in a way that applies to 2022 economics. Some of those foundations, like if you take what was said back then, but then you convert it into today's marketplace and how it applies for today, I believe that it absolutely does work. Now, that's just our differences of opinion. We're both biz dev experts. I agree one thing, he agrees one thing. What's right for me isn't necessarily right for him or his clientele. So, you know, it's one of those agree to disagree type things, but I do understand his point as well, too. You know, you've always got to be innovating. So I find it interesting that you say that.
For me, it's like, are you getting results, right? You guys can both argue, but if you're closing, you know.
And he's closing, that's what I mean.
And he's closing, you're both getting results. I mean, you're both right at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter, because there's lots of different sales methodologies, but most, you know, they're all based on the fundamentals, right? There's like those core principles, as you were just saying. So where was I with this story? Oh yes, I started studying like the copywriters, and one of the things that I knew that I wanted to learn, because I'd been doing all of these organic strategies, right? So like pounding the pavement. I was even doing cold calling at one stage, and I just didn't.
Hey, I did that too. When I first started it with ERP, with Vision 33, I mean, I literally started, you know, I was just talking with our pre-sales agent, who's one of the best in the world, pre-sales solution architect that does the demos and stuff like that and gets a solution stack for us. And he's like, David, when you first started 7 years ago, I knew that you were different when we showed up on site together for the very first demo, and I had no idea what to expect with you. And I was like, oh, David, you're already here. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, how long have you been here for? And I'm like, oh, I've been here for about 90 minutes, man. I saw that this was a business park, so I was just knocking on doors, handing out business cards. And he's like, from that moment, I knew you were different because nobody has ever did that with Vision 33.
Yeah. Cool.
But I feel you. I can relate to what you're saying and that strife and that desire. And I didn't get much out of it in the beginning either. I mean, it wasn't like I hit the lottery with it. So I really relate to your struggle.
I was just kind of knocking on restaurant doors in London, I wasn't even, so with cold calling, what I've learned now, didn't know back then, is you really want to curate the leads. So make sure the people that you're like cold calling are interested in like the product that you are selling. You don't just want to just cold call random people. So anyway, so I was doing lots of things. And I didn't want to do the organic strategies anymore. I knew that I wanted to do paid advertising. So I bought this guy's Facebook course. And in his Facebook group for that course, he put out a post saying he was hiring for his ad agency. And I thought, that'd be pretty cool to learn how to run ads from him. And he pays me, right? Because I'm working for him. So I get to actually learn, and he pays me for the privilege. So I applied, and out of 50 people, I got the gig. And I literally went from spending like $20 a day on my own ads to like $100,000 a month, like literally overnight. And I was just put into the client campaigns, and it was kind of like baptism by fire. And so I started working with really successful business owners right from the get-go, implementing his frameworks and strategies. And I ended up working for him for a couple of years, and then I went out on my own, and that was back in 2017. So I've been running.
So you're interesting. You're one of the few people that have come on the show to admit that you've had like professional coaching with people that sell courses.
Yeah, I think it's the best way. Like I would recommend, like if you're starting out and you're wanting to.
Would you prefer that over just reading books and self-study or listening to books?
I still do that. Like I still read books all the time. Actually, I've got a bunch on my desk.
But if you can afford a course and you have the right person, you think the courses are worth it then?
Yeah, but a mentor is absolutely, you want a mentor. Now, for me, the best way to get a mentor is go work for the mentor. They pay you for the privilege, right? As opposed to so my mentor, the guy that I worked for, his name's Jason. I still actually pay him. I still actually get coached by him because he still provides value to me after all these years. But what happened was I started working for Jason, right? And he started paying me my wage. Whereas there were other people going to Jason and paying him like, $50,000 to $70,000 a year to learn from him. Whereas I'm working with Jason every single day and he's paying me. So I say, like, if you're just starting out, one of the best ways to get experience, like, a lot of experience very quickly, and to learn from someone, that's done it, is to go work for them. You don't have to do it full time. Do a side gig, like a few hours per day, and learn from them, and then go out on your own. And the other cool thing about doing that is you'll meet a lot of high level people. And then they will know you, and when you go out on your own, you'll have kind of clients there, and then they will refer. It's just, I think it's just an amazing way to kind of start at the beginning.
That sounds great. So we've established you have your ad business, how you kind of got into that, the mentoring, all that stuff. Let's talk a little bit about where your business is now. What do you specialize in? How do you find your clients? How has COVID changed your business? How do you continue to find growth in a highly competitive marketplace that you're in?
Good question. So I'm a marketer. So for me it's pretty straightforward for me. I know how to stand out, as a marketer. So it's not a big deal. And also COVID didn't change my business at all. I'm the Aussie Hermit. I work from a computer.
But what about like right now, for example, my understanding from talking with the recent Australians in the show too, that inflation, recession concerns, I believe you have a little bit down there in Australia. I don't know the severity of it or where it stands right now because it's been a month or so since we talked with them.
I think every country who has a fiat currency, which is basically every country in the world has a concern right now. So
okay. So like, for example, my podcast, it's monetized on YouTube. Okay. And you can see as inflation's gone up, as inflation's gone up, as the recession worries have set in, as we've had 2 negative quarters of growth in the US, you can see the ad revenue is plummeted. And usually ad revenue marketing, I don't know why. I think companies are so stupid. one of the first budgets they usually slash is marketing. And it's like, why? If it's harder to sell, if it's like you should be investing more.
That's why I'm doing this. Like my ad costs at the moment are like, I'm getting leads for like half of what they were like a year ago. And so I'm just like this, right? Because my cost. So what I think is about to happen over the next 6 months is we're going to go into some type of gigantic collapse. It's going to be a huge, if not in the next few weeks. I mean, you look at what came out today.
A gigantic collapse in terms of marketing revenue or in terms of economic recession?
All the fiat currencies are collapsing, right? It doesn't really look like that at the moment because the US dollar is so strong, but it's kind of like the least dirty shirt in the laundry pile or whatever you call it. So relative to all the other currencies, it's collapsing as well. Anyway, and so what's going to happen, as you just said, is, and it's happening already, is that companies, for whatever reason, they spend less on the thing that makes them money. And so my ad costs have gone down, and it's the best time to start advertising when no one else is advertising because you've got like no competition. So, so now is the time to advertise. And then when there's...
Yeah, companies are slashing budgets, and it's like, okay, if all the companies are doing it and you know all your competitors are, why aren't you doubling your marketing budget then? Because you can get double the exposure.
Yeah, that's my point. So when everyone's cutting their budget, I'm going to be, that's actually a good principle for getting rich, right? When, and what does it Warren Buffett say is like when everyone's kind of invest. Yeah, when everyone's happy and exuberant in the market, that's when you want to be fearful. When everyone's fearful, that's when you want to start buying, right? So the way to be successful is just kind of just do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And this is exactly the same thing. So when everyone's cutting.
That's how I've made my career. So we are exactly aligned. I mean, I do things very different than what a lot of people do traditionally. And I've kind of, cut my teeth doing it that way. And it's worked very successfully for me throughout my career. Doesn't mean it will work for everybody like that, but I just have that type of personality that I'm able to kind of do things differently and get away with it, where someone else, they might not have that personality to do it. You got to do what works for you ultimately. That works for me, going against the grain.
Yeah, it works pretty much every time.
Unless I'm shaving.
So I'm just going to double down on the budget once. I mean, I'm doing it already, but even more so when, the economy is not getting better. So it's just when everyone's pulling back, I'm going to be spending even more. And if you're listening to this and you're running ads, that's might be something that you want to think about.
Okay, so I got two questions for you that really popped out to me on your bio that I want to ask before we wrap up. Is the first one is how to use content conversion events to 10 times your email sales. Okay. Everybody's always, who was it? I think I first heard 10 times everything, like Grant Cardone or something like that. And it sounds so cliche with the 10 times, but, explain it to us. Let us know, like, is it real or is that just cliche?
Hype. No, it is real. So basically the way it works, and this is kind of getting into email type stuff. So when I'll give you some context, right? So I have kind of two sides to my business. I've got the agency where I run ads for people, and then I've got coaching where I will coach other experts or other service professionals, generally they're other coaches, how to get clients with advertising. Okay. Now the way that I show them how to do that is, again, because of my story, I'm funnels are great and all the complex strategies, but I say, look, in the beginning, you want to keep things really simple, build your list with quality leads, and then just send email follow-up, right? Send regular emails with a great offer. Just start there. And then you can get to the complex stuff later after you've got consistent clients. So that's all you need to get clients. It's just quality leads on your list, send regular emails with a great offer. Okay. So that's like the beginning. That's like the foundation of your business. So now you have that context. What are content conversion events? Well, once you're consistently building your list and you are sending regular emails, you can get much more out of your list by sending them more offers, right? So basically think of it like the more offers you put in front of your market, the more money you're going to make.
We do something like a nurture list, okay? And that's where maybe we have a customer that yes, they technically are a fit, but let's just say they're a $2 million company and we can sell a $2 million a year revenue company, but maybe it would be easier financially for them once they hit that 5 million a year revenue mark, 18 months from now, 2 years from now, whatever it is. So we put them on a nurture list and send them infrequent, email reminders like, hey, what our solution is, how to help you grow, how to automate your business, stuff like that. Is that kind of what you're talking about, or is this something different?
Yeah, so it's follow up. It's, because most people are not ready to buy. The reason why, so email is the most profitable marketing medium still today, even with all the bots and SMS and all that. So email is still number one because it's the main follow up strategy, right? There's, because most people are not ready to buy today in your market, but they will be one day. It could be in 7 days, it could be in 14 days, it could be in 3 months, it could be in 3 years. And so in order for you to be top of mind when they're ready to buy, you want to send regular follow-up. Again, the best way to do that is with email. That's why I say, you want to have an email list. That's the foundation of your business. So it's just sending regular communications via email. So that's like the baseline. And as I said, if you want to get more out of your email list, so convert more of your email subscribers into buyers or clients, you want to put more offers in front of them. Okay. But you want to do that in a way where obviously it doesn't kind of burn out the list, where you don't just send an email that says, are you ready to buy? Or here's an offer. When you're on an e-commerce list, you get that all the time. We've got a sale. It's it's not valuable at all. It's just they're just going to you to pitch basically. So
I got company. I wear a lot of bracelets, as my fans know, because, Rockstar wannabe host David Strasser here. But the company is called Got Strung. They've been on my show. I've supported them ever since they launched, because the original bracelets before they came out with the beaded ones are made out of the used guitar strings from their concerts. They're actually a real band. And I was like, holy cow. I mean, beautiful, beautiful jewelry. And then they started making more masculine ones that are the ones that I'm buying now. And they've been on the show. We're good friends. They told their story. I get constant emails from them, but their constant emails are actually hey, it's the occasional sale. Maybe we have 20% off. I mean, I have my own discount, so I don't even need those emails. But with them, it's usually, hey, we got new bracelets, check out these new designs. Or for example, they just had, who was it? It was a super famous singer of a female band that came out with her own line made out from her own guitar strings too, of her set of jewelry that came out hey, we got this limited edition. And they send pretty much weekly to sometimes bi-weekly emails, but it's for these new product launches. Is that too much? Is that the right way? Is that the wrong way? From them, they say it's working because it's growing their business by so much.
Well, okay. So this is where we can get into specific. So the content conversion events, which I can come back to if you want, but what you're going into now is something slightly different, which is just the email strategy. So I actually teach to email every day. So that's my system. I didn't want to get into that because you asked about the content conversion events, but.
Oh, no problem. Well, this kind of mixes into the second question I was going to ask you about sending them one email every day.
So yeah, what I recommend, and this is where I get a lot of pushback and people are like, oh my gosh, an email every day. Yes, fair enough. If you were to send an email every single day, the way that you probably typically do, or the way that you've experienced from other gurus or other e-commerce stores that don't add value, absolutely, you don't want to send those every day because you're just going to burn out your list, or you're going to get a lot of unsubscribes. Now, the way that I teach to send email is probably a little bit different than what most people are used to. And this is something that I discovered back, when I came back from London, because I wanted to just focus on the fundamentals. And what I wanted to do was just, okay, I'm not going to do any of the fancy stuff. I just want to build my list and email my list. That's what I wanted to focus on. That's what this decision I made. I just wanted something simple. And so I started to learn what worked and what didn't with email. I started to do a lot of testing and tweaking. And one of the things I noticed is that, people would read my emails for a couple of weeks, and I'd be spending an hour or two on an email, sending lots of great content. But after a couple of weeks, people kind of tuned out. And I'm sending them really great content, but why are they tuning out? And yet they're spending, hours a day on YouTube on social media on their phones. So what are these platforms doing that I'm not? And obviously their content is entertaining, right? So you got the Kardashians and cat videos and stuff. And so obviously the conclusion that I made was, okay, if I want to get people to read my emails in this day and age, they've got to start with something that's entertaining. I've got to lead with entertainment before I get into the teaching, into the value. So I started doing that, taking a more entertainment focused approach. And all of a sudden, my open rate started going up, and people actually started getting more appointments and more sales from my emails. And then I started sending more emails because people were really enjoying them. I was getting a lot of good feedback, and I started getting more appointments, right? So I send an email every single day now because, number one, people love my emails. Again, these are marketing emails that have a pitch in every single one. They add to the entertaining, they add value, and I send an email every day because the more of these emails that I send, the more money I make. So if people love them and I make more money when I send them, why wouldn't you send it, every single day? And that's what I teach in my coaching program, to send an email every day. And if you jump on my email list, you'll see that the emails are actually, quite entertaining. And again, these are marketing emails. So that's what I teach, is how to send an email every day that your prospects love to read and they actually buy from.
Now that makes a lot of sense. And I think you kind of gave me an answer to the question that I asked, because while they're not entertaining per se, because of the fact that I'm so big into music, Lizzie Hale, I believe, was the artist, by the way, with Strung. But since I'm so into music, I got 10, 15 guitars, stuff like that. So diehard into music, and that's why I love their brand so much. To me, seeing their new bracelet designs and stuff like that, I find that entertaining. And I'm sure if you're a diehard music fan like me in the rocker world, guitar collectioner, and you have guitar or bass string jewelry that they're making, you probably find that entertaining. Not entertaining like a joke entertaining, but entertaining like almost like guitar porn would be. Look, when I go over reverb.com looking at guitars, of all the things that I've got to tell my wife I've won in a raffle. So let's circle back then. Now that we jumped into the sending the emails, even just the 1-a-day email, let's circle back to wrap up right here real quick with the content conversion events, because I think that kind of closes the loop, does it not now? Because we started talking about it, we jumped to the other topic. Now we're going back and we close the loop.
And now you kind of know the strategy. This is what I teach in my program. Like, do that first. Just send a regular email with a really great offer, and that will get you appointments. Now, what the content conversions are is like taking that strategy of the daily email to the next level, right? Because as I said, more offers you put in front of your prospects, the more money you'll make. So you're already sending an email per day. Well, how can we get more offers in front of them? Well, that's what content conversion events are, right? So what that is you're using content. You're leading with content. Again, you can still use the same leading with entertainment focused content, or valuable could be teaching content. I'll get into the specifics in a second. And then at the end of each of those bits of content, you pitch your, whatever it is, your service or your product. So by leading with content, which is valuable, people love content, it gives you an excuse to pitch more. Okay. So they get something really valuable out of it. And for those people that are ready for the next level, next step, your service, your product, those people can take the call to action at the end. So an example would be, so with your email list, you might do a once a month workshop, right? And I do this for my email list, right? It's like the same workshop every single month, and it teaches the daily email strategy, right? So that's a content conversion event. Another one might be, hey, I'm doing a Facebook Live today, come jump on, right? So that's in addition to your regular daily email. So that's another content conversion event, right? Hey, I have a podcast, right? A daily podcast as well with a call to action at the end, right? So that podcast gives me another opportunity to put an offer in front. So you can layer all of these extra bits of content. You don't have to do everything I just mentioned. And I certainly didn't do it all in the beginning, because that's a good way to overwhelm yourself. But like once you get into to start the daily emails, okay, I've got the habit of that. What can I add next? A good one is a monthly workshop. Get that converting. And then add in, maybe you start doing a podcast, right? Maybe you put in a Facebook group, right? So I've got exactly right. So I've got a Facebook group. I've got the monthly workshop. I've got this podcast. I've got my daily emails.
Is your Facebook group, is that free, open to anybody, or is that a paid group?
Yeah. So it's just, if you just go to thehermithole.com, you'll be able to, it'll just redirect you to the Facebook group.
Okay. I will definitely, I'll be joining that today, man, because I'm telling you, some of what you talked to me, we've had a lot of people like you on the show in the marketing sphere, and I like your take. I mean, to me, it's fresh, it's genuine. You come across very authentic and very warm. And I think people that are listening and watching this on YouTube, they're going to get that same vibe. So I am sure you're going to get a jump once this episode airs.
Cool. I appreciate that. That's nice to hear. Thanks, David.
Yeah. So to wrap up, let's talk real first about your podcast. You mentioned that's the 15-minute client. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's 15 minutes. I'm actually launching another one soon, which when this episode airs, it will probably be out. It's called 6-Figure Coaches with Luke Charlton. It's going to be interview style like this. So that's another bit of content. Right? Another bit of content.
Well, I am self-inviting myself on your show, so send me a booking link.
Sounds good. You have it.
If you ever want this episode to air, that is. But yeah, send us the links. We'll have it down in the description. But as far as your ad agency, as far as you yourself, how can people digitally stalk you online?
I appreciate that. Yeah, the best thing to do, like if so I have a free download called the 9 email offers that get clients for free. So it's just like a free guide that goes through these 9 email offers. So if you just go to 9emailoffers.com, that's the number 9, emailoffers.com. That will take you to the opt-in, and then you can read through that. And if you've got an email list, you can send out those offers and see how they go for you. But you'll also go onto my regular daily emails, and you can just see how the system works. It's really simple. It's just 1 email per day with a good offer. So you can see how it works. You can see how I do the emails. You'll see the framework that I use. It's pretty similar each day, pretty straightforward. But as they're entertaining, they're valuable, and they work.
And that's great. Definitely. Please make sure you all reach out to Luke Charlton's business. Definitely click on those links. We'll have them down in the description, as we do with each and every episode, whether you're watching on YouTube, Rumble, or you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all the million sites out there that we're on. Just look down there right after the episode intro of what the episode's about. You'll have the link right there to Luke's site. Sorry. Luke, I do have one random question for you. Okay, since you're a marketing guy, I had this brain of an idea last night. We have our own coffee brand, deadhousecoffee.com, which we use to help support the show because we own it. Each sale helps us buy the fancy equipment that we have, editing stuff, all that cool stuff. We had to change suppliers because they just jacked up their rates. And I think that it makes it unaffordable for most people because it's just the rate hike with the inflation, shipping costs, it's just way too much. And I'm looking for a new supplier. But in the meantime, since I have to revamp that site and the supply and the coffee, something else hit me. I'm watching
coffee. What was
coffee? Yes, coffee.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Dead House Coffee.
Because
there you go. Because it's Dead House Coffee because when you wake up in the morning, you're a zombie, and our quote is, "Don't be a zombie, get back to life." Deadhousecoffee.com. What I was thinking was I was watching a show, and these people, they kept drinking tea. Now, iced tea is cool. Iced tea, I think, in all of U.S. is good, but actually, hot tea.
Long Island iced tea.
Oh, Long Island iced tea is good. Anything with alcohol is good. I'll drink it. Even if it's hot tea, I'll drink it if it has vodka. But I came up with a secondary brand that we're going to launch once I reconfigure Dead House Coffee. What do you think of this name? teaisdisgusting.com. That's going to be my second coffee brand.
I think it'll do amazing.
Thank you for that boost of confidence. Thank you for that boost of confidence.
put a big budget behind that. I think you
think that'll be good? I think that's a catchy name. Tea is and I Googled it. I'm like, wait, no one's bought this site. So I bought it and doing the trademark. Hopefully it'll be in before this episode airs. But we got teaisdisgusting.com and it's going to be a coffee store. How can you get better than that? Right.
Oh, no, that's pretty good. That's
going for all the people like me that despise tea. My wife's a big tea drinker. I'm like, how can you drink this? She I'm sick in the stomach and she's like, well, here, drink this tea. And I'm like, no, I'm going to take Pepto-Bismol, you know?
See, teas, I'm not a big, like green teas and like teas without milk. Being from the UK, I enjoy like black tea with milk in it. Right. But I have that maybe like one or two of those a year. I'm drinking like a bunch. I drink so much coffee. It's crazy. Yeah.
Right. No, same here. That's why I started a coffee company, because then I get to buy my coffee at cost. So it works. But cool. Hey, anyways, look, I'm so grateful for you coming on. Again, remember the link will be down there below in the description. And please reach out. This man knows his stuff and will lead your business to the best way. I mean, as you heard, right now is the time to spend more, not less, on marketing. So thank you again, Luke, and appreciate you joining us, the Aussie Hermit himself.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, take care. Cheers, mate. Wow, that was an incredible chat with Luke, right? First, you all know the routine. If you found this interview helpful, if it sparked those warm and fuzzies, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. But like I said in the intro, if you really want to help us out, because Shark Bite Biz is the greatest kept secret in the world of small business, please do us a favor, share us out to your friends, your colleagues, your family, whoever you think can get value from the message that Luke Charlton and Shark Bite Biz was out there sharing today. Share us anywhere you dwell on the interweb. Whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Minds, wherever it is, share it out there. I'd love to see nothing more than Luke Charlton and Shark Bite Biz trending out there in media. Now let's get back to the real rock star of this show, Mr. Luke Charlton. Who would have thought that email would be popular again? It's like, let's make email great again. Although, if you listen to the show, and not just this episode, but many of our previous marketing guests, you'll know that many of our guests have come on and stressed the importance of email marketing and how people got kind of away from it by doing things like geolocation ads and different things like that are successful. Yeah, but when it comes down to it, sometimes the dullest tool in the shed actually is the most efficient, and that's being email. And, that's why we're all here, right? Because we all want to sell more the easiest and cheapest way we possibly can. Getting more leads at a more effective price, that's a win-win-win across the board. Plus, you're helping a consumer solve a problem, and that's an amazing feeling. I mean, that gives me the warm and fuzzy just thinking about it. So, this is something very unique and valuable, I think, that Luke said. The Aussie Hermit, as he goes by, is that, he does have a unique pitch that separates him from all the other experts that have said this. And his pitch is, not really pitch, I guess it's his twist, is sending one email a day will get you high-paying clients, and that to me is pretty incredible. And I think it's true, because if you spend the time to just go out, research, and do one really good targeted email, just one every single day, you're building a pipeline for success, because eventually those highly targeted, highly customized emails, someone's going to respond eventually. And you have the benefit that you're able to set them up in a sequence with a MarTech automation. Like, for example, we use HubSpot. So you can set up sequences to where you have your highly customized email. If they don't answer in 3 days, you can bump it back to the top with another customized email and do each, one sequence per customer. Make a template of what the sequences look like, and then just edit the text so that way it's being sent and you don't have to remember to send yourself. There are ways to make it a little bit easier with some of those follow-up emails and the call for actions that you're looking for. And, that way you're keeping it as personal as possible, and you're staying away from the generic email blast of just spray and pray. So awesome stuff, Luke. Thank you for coming on, sharing about your mission of helping businesses grow. And please check out the LukeCharlton.com website. As always, a link will be down below in the description. Question of the day. What is your email secret to success? What works for you? Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Remember, if you want to be on the show, please shoot out an email to interviews@sharkbitebiz.com. If you're watching on YouTube, hey, $3 a month, you can become a baby shark, support the channel, hit the super thanks button. Even if you like this episode, that's the heart with the $sign. $1, $5, $20, whatever you donate, definitely helps the channel, allows us to pay for the cost for the infrastructure to be able to do what we're doing. You all know this by now, but I'll say it once again. I'm David Strausser. This is Shark Bite Biz, and we'll see you all next episode. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Shark Bite Biz. We hope you got some insightful info from this podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us through your favorite podcast app and visit us on the web at www.sharkbitebiz.com. How has business changed for you in the 20s? Email us at podcast@sharkbitebiz.com so you can join us and share your story.